The world doesn't play fair, and it never will. You can be honest and still be betrayed. You can be skilled and still be replaced by someone who doesn't deserve your spot. That's reality. But the people who accept this truth don't just survive, they rise. And those who rise eventually rule. There is a certain power in this world that no one talks about. You can't see it, but everyone feels it. It's dark intelligence. Dark intelligence is born in the moments that break most people. Betrayal, humiliation, defeat. While some collapse under pressure, you learn to forge strength from it. This intelligence watches quietly, listens deeply, and strikes only when the timing is perfect. While others argue, you observe. While they explode emotionally, you calculate. While they drown in drama, you plan 10 steps ahead. Most people play checkers. You're about to learn chess. But before we continue, understand this clearly. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. Use it to guard your boundaries, not to harm innocent people. The goal is to understand the game, not become the villain of it. Today, you'll uncover the 8 psychological traits that transform victims into survivors, followers into leaders, and ordinary minds into strategic ones. Before we begin, drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose to be strategically intelligent, not emotionally reactive. Now let's unlock the secrets powerful people never want you to learn. 1. Calculated opacity. You never reveal your full intentions. You share only what is necessary and nothing more. When people know only half the story, they fill the rest with their imagination. And imagination is a powerful tool. It keeps them curious, uncertain, and attentive.
Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you truly are."
Think about the most intriguing people you've ever met. They don't overshare. They don't explain every detail. They leave gaps on purpose. This isn't lying, this is strategic communication. Most people, when asked a question, feel obligated to give a full explanation. Motivations, fears, plans. They think they're building trust, but they're actually giving away their leverage. Mystery creates influence. Influence creates respect. Let's compare. Predictable answer. Oh, I'm staying home this weekend, I'll be watching a movie. Strategic answer. I've got something important to handle. Then you redirect the conversation. One is forgettable, the other is intriguing. Calculated opacity doesn't mean being rude or secretive about everything. It means protecting your information like currency. You reveal enough to stay relatable, but never enough to lose your advantage. When your words become selective, they also become valuable. The goal isn't to appear mysterious for no reason. It's to maintain control over your narrative. 2. Adaptive persona. You are not the same person with everyone, and you shouldn't be. You adjust, adapt, and shift depending on who you're speaking to. People think they know you, but they only know the version of you that fits their world.
Machiavelli wrote that a leader must appear merciful, faithful, upright, humane, and religious,
but only appear. That doesn't mean being fake. It means being effective. You already do this naturally. You don't speak to your grandmother the way you speak to your friends. You don't act the same in a job interview as you do at a party. Adaptive persona simply makes this natural instinct intentional. You study the person in front of you. Analytical, give facts. Emotional, connect with their feelings. Practical, show results. Visionary, paint the bigger picture. This isn't manipulation. It's communication intelligence. Think of water. It takes the shape of any container, but it never stops being water. Adaptive persona works the same way. Your values stay solid. Your presentation becomes flexible. The mistake most people make is confusing authenticity with sameness. Authenticity doesn't mean acting the same everywhere. It means staying true to who you are while choosing the most effective expression of yourself. When you master this, people feel understood around you. They open up. They trust you. And in negotiations, leadership, and relationships, that is priceless. Just remember, adapt your expression, never your principles. 3. The principle of detachment. Nothing owns you, nothing controls you, nothing makes you desperate. Detachment doesn't mean not caring. It means not collapsing. Machiavelli wrote, "If you must choose between being feared or loved, it is safer to be feared." Fear of loss is the chain that controls most people. They tolerate disrespect because they fear losing their job. They compromise their values because they fear losing a relationship. They stay silent because they fear losing approval. Detachment removes those chains. Imagine a negotiation. Person A needs the deal. They're counting on it. Person B wants the deal, but can walk away. Who has the power? Person B, because they're not emotionally chained to the outcome. The paradox of detachment is this: the less you need something, the more you attract it. Confident people aren't confident because life always works in their favor. They're confident because they know they'll survive, even if it doesn't. Detachment gives you clarity. Clarity gives you strength. Strength gives you freedom. And freedom is power. Practice detachment in small ways. Stop trying to win every argument. Stop needing approval from everyone. Stop clinging to outcomes. Soon people will sense it, and they'll treat you with more respect because you can't be controlled. Detachment doesn't kill love or passion. It simply removes fear from them. 4. Silent leverage. Real power doesn't shout, it whispers. People think influence comes from dominance or loud commands, but genuine power rarely raises its voice. Silent leverage is the ability to shift the atmosphere of a room without uttering a word. Machiavelli said, "Nothing great was ever achieved without danger." Silent leverage is understanding that influence often comes from positioning, not persuasion. You don't pressure people. You wait. You don't force outcomes. You create conditions. You don't demand respect. You become indispensable. Your quiet presence becomes heavy in the room. People think twice before crossing you. Opportunities move toward you because you've positioned yourself wisely. Power becomes effortless, not because you chase it, but because you understand how to let it gather around you. Instead of fighting for power, you position yourself so that people hand it to you willingly. That's the essence of silent leverage. And it becomes unstoppable when you learn how it works in real life. In conversations, silent leverage starts with one simple skill: the pause. Most people hate silence. It makes them nervous. So they rush to fill the quiet with explanations, excuses, or details they never intended to share. But when you stay comfortable in the silence, you control the rhythm of the interaction. Next time someone asks you a difficult question, don't answer right away. Pause. Look at them thoughtfully. Let the silence stretch for a few seconds. Then speak. Watch how your words suddenly gain weight. Watch how the other person leans in. Watch how the power dynamic shifts. In negotiations, silent leverage comes from having alternatives. Options you never need to mention. You don't have to threaten to walk away. Your ability to walk away speaks louder than any words. When people sense you're not dependent on the outcome, they negotiate with respect. In relationships, silent leverage means being the person who quietly adds value. The one who supports, uplifts, and improves the lives of others. Not for praise, but because that's who you choose to be. People naturally hold on to those who make their world better. You don't demand loyalty, you earn it. In professional environments, silent leverage means becoming the person everyone turns to when things get complicated. You don't announce that you're the problem solver. You simply solve problems until no one can imagine functioning without you. The secret ingredient behind all of this is patience. Silent leverage is not about instant results. It's about long-term influence. Most people want quick wins. They want applause now, recognition now, validation now. But silent leverage works more like planting seeds. You invest quietly, consistently, and strategically, and let time amplify your impact. When you master this, something remarkable happens. People seek your advice without you offering it. They look for your approval without you asking for it. They follow your lead without you demanding it. You become the quiet force that bends outcomes your way, almost invisibly. But there's an important ethical line. Silent leverage must never be used to manipulate, deceive, or push people into harm. The goal is to create mutual benefit, to guide people toward wiser choices, stronger decisions, and healthier outcomes. You're not tricking anyone. You're helping them see better possibilities. Silent leverage isn't passive. You're still moving, acting, influencing. You're just doing it subtly, strategically, and intentionally.
5. Psychological echo. Psychological echo is the ability to reflect people's deepest needs and fears back to them.
They believe you're speaking their language, but in truth, you're understanding their inner world.
Machiavelli said,
Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few know what you truly are.
psychological echo means becoming a mirror, not to deceive, but to understand. People don't buy ideas, products, or suggestions. They buy solutions to their problems and fulfillment of their desires. Most people fail at communication because they focus on what they want to say instead of what the other person needs to hear. Here's how psychological echo works. You become a student of human nature. Everyone you meet carries invisible burdens, hidden desires, and unspoken fears. If you listen closely, people reveal everything through their stories. How they see themselves, what they value, what they fear. Most people listen to respond. You listen to understand. Every person you meet is silently asking 3 questions. Do you see me? Do you understand me? Do you value me? If your words answer yes to all 3, you create instant trust. Psychological echo means responding not to their words, but to their meaning. You listen for the emotion beneath the sentence, the need beneath the frustration, the fear beneath the complaint. For example, if someone says, "I hate my job," a typical response is, "Maybe you should find a new one." But a psychological echo response is, "It sounds like you don't feel valued or challenged anymore." One response gives advice, the other gives understanding. Understanding builds influence. Here's the powerful part. You reflect the positive version of their feelings. If someone is overwhelmed, you echo their dedication. If someone is frustrated, you echo their desire for excellence. Once you identify their core needs, security, recognition, freedom, you can present your ideas using the language that resonates with their psychology. You're not changing your message, you're changing the frame. This makes you incredibly persuasive in leadership, negotiations, sales, parenting, and relationships. Used ethically, psychological echo creates deeper connections and healthier communication, not manipulation. 6. Ambiguous morality. You are neither the hero nor the villain. You are the person who gets things done. Real power doesn't always exist in black and white. More often, it lives in the gray. Machiavelli said, "It is safer to be feared than loved when only one can exist." This is the most misunderstood trait of dark intelligence. So let's clarify. Ambiguous morality does not mean abandoning your values, hurting others, acting selfishly, doing whatever benefits you at any cost. What it truly means is this: the real world is complicated, and simple morality doesn't always solve complex problems. Sometimes being nice leads to worse outcomes. Sometimes protecting people requires making uncomfortable decisions. Sometimes long-term good requires short-term discomfort. For example, if a team member is lying to clients and harming the entire organization, the kind thing may be to give them another chance. But the ethical thing might be to remove them to protect everyone else.
That isn't cruelty, that's responsibility. Another example. When someone is in a toxic relationship, the pleasant thing might be to stay quiet. But the moral thing might be to tell the hard truth, even if it hurts temporarily. Ambiguous morality means focusing on long-term outcomes instead of superficial appearance. It asks, not what makes me look good right now, but what decision creates the best result for the most people. That level of thinking requires accepting responsibility for the consequences, even when the decision is painful or unpopular. It's not selfishness. It's not ruthlessness. It's pragmatic ethics. Ambiguous morality acknowledges that different situations require different responses. The same action that's wrong in one context may be necessary in another.
This is a gray zone where real leaders operate. For example, complete honesty may be the right approach in a close personal relationship, but in certain professional negotiations it can become counterproductive, especially when strategic disclosure would lead to a better outcome. A person with flexible or ambiguous morality understands these nuances and adapts their approach accordingly. The danger, however, is that this flexibility can become an excuse for selfish or harmful behavior. That's why maintaining firm ethical guidelines, what you will and won't do, even in complex situations, is essential. My recommendation is to establish solid boundaries for yourself. What are your non-negotiable values? What lines will you refuse to cross? What outcomes are you willing to take responsibility for? Within those boundaries, allow yourself to be pragmatic and strategic, even when that means making decisions others may not understand or approve of. Remember, the goal is not to be liked by everyone. The goal is to be effective and ethical in a complicated world where simple answers rarely work. Number 7, controlled exposure. You don't reveal everything about yourself. The less people know, the more they assume. And assumptions create mistakes that strengthen your strategic position. Machiavelli once said, "Men are so simple of mind and so dominated by their immediate needs that a deceitful person will always find plenty ready to be deceived." In a world where people overshare every detail of their lives on social media, controlled exposure may seem outdated, but it's more powerful than ever. When everyone is broadcasting their thoughts and emotions, the person who shares selectively becomes intriguing.
Controlled exposure means being intentional with your personal information. It means recognizing that not everyone deserves access to every part of your life, and that selective sharing can deepen relationships while increasing your influence. Consider the psychology behind this. Humans are wired for curiosity. When we see something incomplete or mysterious, our minds automatically try to fill in the missing pieces. This is called the curiosity gap. And it is one of the most effective psychological forces in human behavior. Practicing controlled exposure creates curiosity gaps that draw people toward you and increase their attention to what you do choose to reveal. Think of the most captivating people you know. They don't reveal everything at once. They share enough to keep you engaged, but they leave room for intrigue. This isn't accidental. It's strategic. In professional settings, controlled exposure means being selective about which ideas you reveal and when to reveal them. It means not showing every capability at once. It means keeping certain strengths in reserve so you can provide value at the most effective moment. Instead of showcasing all your skills in your first week at a job, you reveal them gradually. This creates the impression that you are consistently growing instead of someone who peaked early in social situations. Controlled exposure means not unloading your full life story on every new person you meet. It's about sharing personal details slowly, as trust forms and relationships deepen. This isn't secrecy or dishonesty, it's strategic openness. In negotiations, controlled exposure means not revealing all your priorities or constraints at the beginning. It's about keeping key information in reserve so you can use it at the right moment as the negotiation evolves. The core principle is simple. Information revealed can't be unrevealed. Once someone knows something about you, they cannot unknow it. That's why it's often safer to reveal too little than too much. But controlled exposure isn't only about withholding. Timing matters just as much. The same piece of information can have completely different effects depending on when you disclose it. Mentioning a skill or achievement too early may seem like bragging, but mentioning it later when it's relevant to solving a problem makes you seem humble and capable. Controlled exposure also requires understanding your audience. Different people require different levels of access to you. Close friends and family should know more than acquaintances. Business partners should know different information than competitors. Employees need different insights than peers. This isn't about being fake. It's about being appropriate, intentional, and strategic. Another dimension of controlled exposure is managing your digital footprint. Everything you post, comment on, or share becomes part of your permanent online identity. People will form opinions about you solely based on this, sometimes without ever meeting you. Smart people curate their digital presence intentionally because they understand it contributes to their overall narrative. The purpose of controlled exposure is not to cultivate mystery for the sake of mystery. It's to remain in control of your identity, your narrative, and your relationships. Strategic disclosure allows you to guide how people perceive you. It helps you highlight the qualities and experiences that align with your goals. It prevents others from boxing you into roles based on incomplete information. The balance to master is this: share enough to build real connection, but not so much that you lose your strategic advantage. Successful individuals understand this balance. They are warm and sincere, yet deliberate about what they reveal and when they reveal it. Number 8, outcome obsession. You're not here to win arguments or prove points, you're here to get results. People who focus on outcomes do not waste energy on unnecessary battles. Machiavelli wrote, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." This distinction separates amateurs from professionals, dreamers from achievers, talkers from doers. Most people get distracted by the wrong things. They want to be right more than effective, admired more than impactful, comfortable more than successful. Outcome obsession clears the noise. When you're outcome focused, you ask new questions. Instead of "how do I prove I'm right?" you ask, "what result am I trying to achieve?" Instead of "how can I look good here?" you ask, "which action moves me closer to my goal?" This shift transforms everything. In arguments, most people act like they're trying to win a debate. Point scoring, correcting, proving. But outcome-obsessed people begin by asking, what is the actual purpose of this conversation? Maybe the goal is to change behavior. Maybe to reach compromise. Maybe to gather information. Once the goal is clear, the strategy becomes obvious. Sometimes the best move is winning the argument, but often that's the worst approach. If your goal is to influence someone, proving them wrong can backfire, making them defensive. Helping them reach the conclusion themselves is often more effective. This mindset applies everywhere. In business, outcome obsession means prioritizing actions that move the company forward rather than tasks that make you look good. It means valuing impact over visibility. It means relying on data rather than ego. In relationships, outcome obsession means prioritizing the long-term health of the connection over winning small conflicts. In personal development, it means evaluating progress based on results, not effort or intention. Outcome obsession also prevents the trap of looking busy without being productive. Many people confuse activity with achievement, believing effort alone leads to success. Outcome-driven people know you can work extremely hard at the wrong things and achieve nothing. They constantly ask, is what I'm doing moving me closer to my goal? Or am I staying busy to avoid the meaningful work? This leads to what I call strategic laziness. Outcome-obsessed individuals sometimes appear less busy because they focus only on the tasks that produce disproportionate results. They're not trying to be the hardest workers. They're trying to be the most effective workers. Outcome obsession also shapes how you learn. Instead of trying to master every topic, you develop the specific skills that drive the biggest results. You ask, what's the minimum I need to learn to achieve maximum impact? This isn't laziness, it's strategic efficiency. But here's the warning. Outcome obsession becomes dangerous if you forget your values in pursuit of results. The healthiest approach is to be outcome obsessed within ethical boundaries. Success should include integrity, respect, and positive contribution. When ethics are part of your definition of success, outcome obsession becomes a force for good. Another hallmark of outcome-driven people is their willingness to change course when something isn't working. Most people cling to their plans even when they fail, but outcome-obsessed people stay attached to their goals, not their methods. If a strategy doesn't work, they adapt. If circumstances change, they pivot. They are flexible in approach, but unshakable in purpose. Ultimately, outcome obsession makes you someone who consistently delivers. Someone whose results speak louder than their promises. Such people gain trust, attract opportunities, and earn influence. You've now explored the 8 traits of dark intelligence, but knowledge without application is useless. Choose one trait that resonated with you. For the next 7 days, practice it intentionally in your daily interactions. Don't try to master everything at once. Focus on one. Observe how people react differently. Notice how your mindset shifts when you operate with strategic intelligence rather than emotional impulse. But remember the warning from the beginning. This power comes with responsibility. Use these insights to protect yourself, not to harm others. Use them to create better outcomes for everyone, not just yourself. The world needs more strategically intelligent people who apply their understanding ethically. People who can see through manipulation and prevent harm. People who navigate complexity with clarity and integrity. That is the real purpose of dark intelligence. Not to manipulate others, but to become immune to manipulation yourself. The most dangerous person is the one with nothing to lose. But the most valuable person is the one who understands human psychology and uses it for the good of all. Which person will you choose to be? If this video changed how you see intelligence and power, hit the like button. For more content on psychology, strategy, and human behavior, subscribe and ring the notification bell. Comment below and share which of these 8 traits you've noticed in successful people and which one you plan to develop next. Until next time, remember, true intelligence is not just being smart, it's being wise enough to use your mind in service of something greater than yourself. Stay strategic, stay ethical, and stay powerful.